founders of spiritualism, for bringing us here. We were an open, fighting, loving religion that had a fear moment. We don't have to keep having a fear moment. And thank you. And now I open to questions, and I'll try to answer the best I can. Would you mind standing and let me say your name, please?
My name is Eva.
Eva, thank you.
I'm just curious if you know how long the NCSA lasted, and did it eventually merge with its counterpart or end or become something else?
The National Colored Association lasted through the 70s.
Okay. But did it merge or
They did not merge. It just fell apart. I haven't gotten far enough yet to know when exactly we got rid of those 3 amendments. I wasn't able to find it at that point, and the thesis I read that did the thesis, she didn't list it at the end. I was hoping she would. She didn't. I found that paper at the last minute, actually. 529 pages, people. Yes, ma'am. Your name?
June Kilmer.
Hi, June.
I'd just like to add a little something, I guess, in defense of NSAC. Because being born and raised a spiritualist in a church in Chicago, and my father having been pastor, assistant pastor, then pastor, president of the Illinois State Association for I don't know how many years, and on the national board. We had a church in the Illinois State Association when I was a little kid. When they came into it, I don't know. That was an all-black church. It's still a member of NSAC. Unfortunately, it's in decline right now. It's suffering right now. It's the Tucker Smith Washington Memorial Church. It used to be Tucker Smith and Mrs. Washington, and I don't even know her first name because as a kid we all called her Mother Washington. I'm sorry, Katrina, you and me.
It's okay, I've heard this history.
And when the Colored Spiritualist Association wanted her church to join with them, she refused. And she remained. She said, no, I will remain with the Illinois State Spiritualist Association, which made her a member of the National Spiritualist Association. And she proclaimed that to her dying day.
There were those who refused. There was
And
2/3.
And some of you know Reverend Maurice Coverson, Reverend Arsenio Williams. They both came through that church. Mrs. Washington, to the best of my knowledge, was never ordained. Therefore, she couldn't marry anyone. She came to my father to ask him to do the marriage services. But he would go and serve her church. And I remember as a little kid when Illinois State was a very active association, as many state associations were, and we had our own state banquets and so forth. And those people were always with us. You know how your church tends to sit at one table and that? Well, we have a couple tables and the people from Tucker Smith Church. So, unfortunately, you know, as happens to many churches, their membership has declined to nothing, really, to one people holding it. And I have to admit that in the past, I guess in the past 2 years maybe, when they were suffering and they needed help, I did speak up for them because I knew of their history. And National made a loan to them to help them with the expenses of their building and repairs. And unfortunately, since then, they just have not been able to build any membership. And it's in the process of closing. And their building, we will have to help them sell their building, which we're doing as much as we can to help them. But I just want you to know that we did come out of the dark ages and try and progress to change.
I'm Nancy Cook.
Hi, Nancy.
And from Sacramento, and nearby to Dune, so we've heard a lot of her stories. But we have some young people in our church that I know need to hear this history. And I would like permission to use your handout in helping enlighten them and refer them to you for some more enlightenment. I've been trying to tell them, we've been there, we've been working, trying to get things going, and they're in doubt right now with things going on. And I really appreciate this.
May I say just one small thing? Because I know the bus is out there.
Oh, yeah, you guys gotta go.
There will be a DVD available.
Oh,
Good, thank you.
All right, so real quickly, and then you can talk, I'm sorry. My email address is at the top of the page.
Yes.
Feel free to email me with any more questions, comments, or concerns. Reverend June is correct. There were churches that refused to be a part of the NCA, the National College of Spiritualists Association. When they had their first meeting, about, I think, 2/3 of the room walked out. They refused. The challenges are, though, still, is that feeling of not being included. There is never a segregation that is good. I don't know one yet. I haven't met it yet. There is never a time when not everybody should be at the table and everybody should be in the room. That is good. And this is just to show our history that we also have been motivated by fear. The Methodists did it, the Baptists did it, the Catholics did it. I mean, everybody did it. It was popular. I mean, at the time, it was I always tell people, keep in mind the time. But it doesn't mean that's something we should keep going forward. Look at as spiritualism says, we question everything. We take nothing for face value. It's why we don't have creed and dogma.
That's right.
We're asked to always question, to always ask, is this in the best and the highest of each and every one of us? Or is this just motivated by ego or temporary situation? And that's what I'm hoping you took away from this talk, that you will go forward this week in convention and keep that in mind with everything that you vote on and everything you talk about and how you communicate with each other. Yes?
This was wonderful, thank you. And if I may suggest to any board members that are sitting here, maybe down the road at some future convention, as you continue all your research, it would be nice to have it presented as one of the workshops.
Yes.
Name next to you?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Betty Hyde. I'm from Philadelphia. And I'm just elated to hear about Elder Rebecca Cox Johnson.
I was so in love with her.
Okay, right, because you know, I used to be at another church, a spiritualist church, and her great grandson used to attend that church. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe she had a daughter, and her daughter wrote a book because she used to do photography, mediumship, something of that nature.
You know what? I know she worked with Rebecca Perot and her were really close.
Right.
I'm not sure about her children because when I read her book, she didn't talk about her children.
Okay.
She talked about her brother's kids. And her
Okay.
brother had children.
Okay.
But doesn't mean you didn't bring some up that were different. That's something else to look for.
Grandson used to
She's
attend
one
the
of my,
church
she was
in
my absolute
Philadelphia.
favorite. She's
So,
absolute, yes.
Eddie, I will email you, and
Oh, yeah,
so
please
this
do.
way, hopefully we can make it.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Jackie Randall.
Hi, Jackie.
And I'm from Connecticut. But I just wanted to just share my feelings about that. I think this is wonderful. I have said that we should at some point in time do an African American workshop, because when you go to other churches, people will come up to you and say, oh gee, I didn't know there were African American spiritualism. You know, we'd like to see more people like us, but we have to share those people. Just a couple of things. To my way of thinking, Leafy Anderson was by far one of the most prolific persons in spiritualism. She taught classes that numbered hundreds in the
Yeah,
week.
she did.
And then they would go out and teach more. So, you know, every time you teach, somebody else would go out and teach just as many. And that's how we get, quote, strength in spiritualism. And that's what the theme is for this time. So I just wanted to throw that out. And if you read about Leafy Anderson and you read about her death and think about Katrina, you will see the correlation of history and African Americans working in spiritualism and providing proof of continuity of life. The last thing I want to say, the lady from Boston was redeemed at some point. She may have died poor and she may have been in an unmarked grave for many
Harriet
a
Wilson.
year.
Yeah.
But now they have moved
Oh.
her grave, and she has a, quote, numbered grave, but it is noted that it is she who spread spiritualism about Boston and its surrounding areas. It's a phenomenal thing for you to sit down and tinker with your computer, because after World War I, that's when everybody started feeling their oats and decided people should not be included. They are becoming more and more inclusive, but we have a lot of work to do. So study your history, know what you're talking about, and rejoice in it.
And the last thing, and thank you very much. The last thing is also Andrew Jackson Davis, you guys, was very instrumental for bringing in and working with a large number of African American spiritualists and bringing them into the religion. So there's a lot of research. But anyway, look, I think we're done. You guys gotta get on your bus and